Following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys StoryLine with Nick Eatman.
What is up? Welcome to Cowboys Storyline. It is Tuesday, May 21st. I'm Nick Eatman, and it is time for Storyline. We want to hear from you guys. I already got the phones ringing. I'm sure you got plenty of questions. I want to hear about this team. We're going to find out a little bit more about this football team this week. Not a ton more. It is still practice. There's not a lot of pads going on, but the team is out there now. They're starting their OTAs this week, and we get to watch. The media is available one day a week, and that day is tomorrow. So we'll also have a press conference with Mike McCarthy. He'll be live here on DallasCowboys.com and all of the apps and all of the places to find our stuff. That's at 10:45 tomorrow morning Central Time, and we'll have locker room and practice and all that afterwards. But we can talk about that. We can preview what we expect to see and maybe who will be out there, who won't be out there, and what does that really mean. Again, it's OTAs. There'll be a lot of qualifying of that because, you can't get too, ahead of things. But that's sort of where we are. And but at least they're back on the field. At least we're getting there. We're getting the end of May and getting into June, and we know what that means. It means training camp's right around the corner. All right, speaking of right around the corner, Texarkana is not that far. It is far if you drive, like for me, driving to my parents' house and I got kids in the car, then it seems like an eternity, but it's really not that far. Texarkana, Randy, what's up?
Well, I would tell you to step into my office and have a seat, Mr. Eatman.
What's up?
But since you got a good track record, we're going to let you slide. I was on a conference call with all the rest of the Storyline callers, and, none of us got the memo about you swapping up the time on us last week like that, and I kind of missed out, and so did a bunch of other people, but we're going to let you go with a verbal.
Well, I hate that I missed you guys. We did
but you got some new people in, so that was cool.
First-time callers, and I will like to introduce you to something too.
Okay.
It's changed its name. It started out as a thing called Twitter, and then it moved to X. And if you could get on it, you would be able to see it because I run both accounts and I put it on there 100 times.
Did you? Well, I'm not
sorry.
I'm not on the Twitter.
If I would have put it on MySpace, would you have gotten it?
MySpace.
Jeez.
On the running man.
Now I do like that. You guys are talking together like as a group?
Oh yeah. You didn't know about that, but we get calls in all the time.
Maybe if you can invite me in the group, then I could put it in there. Maybe
there you go.
Unless you're talking crap about me.
Nah, it's all good.
All right. What do you got, man?
All right. Well, the only football stuff I have is actually something kind of just off the wall I was thinking about the other day, and I don't know if you've heard things or not, but you remember last year when Jimmy was put in the Ring of Honor, the whole deal about him becoming part of the advisory role and all that good kind of stuff. One, the question is do you know if he's actually been advising? And two, you see how media has just jumped all over the Joneses about the moves that they have or mostly have not made this off season, and every time they talk about it, they want to say, the bad parts of it and shine dark light on it. Could you imagine if somehow, some way it comes out, hey, Jimmy told them to do all these moves?
Yeah, no
Everybody would say, oh, it's brilliant.
Yeah,
it's the most, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It would totally flip the entire narrative about everything. But I was just going to see what you thought about that.
Well, no, you're exactly right. I mean, no one ever seems to talk about, Jimmy's time in Miami.
Right.
And I'm not trying to talk crap. All I'm saying is that they had it working here. I mean, they had a lot of draft picks. He was the right person for the job. Him and Jerry together, they were working. It was great. It was great. There wasn't a salary cap until kind of the end of all that. They were able to benefit. It was just perfect. And without Jerry, Jimmy really didn't have a lot of success, and you could say vice versa. So that is what it is. But I don't know about advisory board. I mean, I don't know this. He's still with Fox, right? I mean, like.
I don't know either. I'm not sure. I would assume so.
What would they say about you actually work for the team or you're advising? I don't know. I mean, I think it's
conflict.
Yep. I think it's just, hey, we're all in good standing now. Now he's where he belongs. He's in the Ring of Honor. The relationship is better than it's probably ever been. And I don't know if he's just sitting in Zoom calls on the draft. I don't know if that's
right.
happening. I just think it's, hey, I'll call Jimmy. He's got a Rolodex of people that he, calls and says, all right, let me bounce this off this person. I'm talking about Jerry, and I'm sure Jimmy might be one of those guys. So
yeah,
so that's probably where it is, and that's probably keeping it healthy for both sides. I don't think it's anything too serious, but it's definitely better than what it's been, and it's good to have them in that place. Yeah,
and I was just mainly, and I have a feeling that none of that's actually been happening, but it just made me think about everybody latches on talking bad about the Cowboys and the dumb moves they're making. Yeah. And all you would have had to do is insert, well, Jimmy said do that, and I promise you it would be a different story.
Yeah.
And so moral of the story is everybody needs to quit thinking that everything Dallas is doing is bad. How about we give it a little bit? And you never know. We might have a bunch of little young stars on our team that pop up out of nowhere and become superstars, and then we can't afford to keep them no more. One of them deals.
Yeah. Which is what happens. You're right.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
All right, Randy. Thank you so much. Good call.
Y'all have a good one.
Love hearing from Randy, especially right off the bat. It's going to start off a good show, and he makes a good point too, where like it's easy to see the moves that that you make, and then it's easy to see the moves that you don't make. But what isn't always easy is it like, well, maybe they should have signed this guy or this guy, and instead, they're looking at it like, okay, we think our guy has the potential to be better. He's definitely cheaper, so let's let Sam Williams play this year. Let's let these guys, whoever it is. Let's let them play. Let the centers, the young guys, the Basses of the world, Hoffman, anybody, Rico Dowdle, you could throw him in at running back, and that moves that they didn't make because they felt like they've got some players that just need to play, and that's now they did re-sign Rico. It's don't act like Rico was here. They had to re-sign him, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, and so that's kind of. They feel like they've got young guys that just haven't been able to play, haven't been able to develop, and this is the time to do that. So, if there is a breakout player, I think that needs to be remembered and go, hey, they could have addressed this position that they decided to keep it in house, and by doing so, this is where they are, and they have a cheaper option as well. All right, let's go, James in West Virginia. James.
Hello.
Hey, James.
Hey, what's going on, man? I'm a first-time caller.
All right.
Heck yeah.
Here we go.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm waiting for my here we go, but it's all right. Chris is on the Here we go.
Here we go.
What's up, James?
Well, I'm a truck driver, and I've been out on the road for 2 months now. I'm heading home today to see my beautiful wife and watch my beautiful daughter graduate high school this weekend.
All right. Congrats.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. I can't wait to get there.
Yeah.
I listen to you guys all the time, man. I listen to all the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listen to all you guys, all the podcasts. I also follow a guy named Mike Fisher. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Go ahead.
Have you ever heard of Mike Fisher?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I follow him on YouTube, and I tell you, his information is spot on. Whenever because he said the Zeke thing like 5 weeks before it even happened. He predicted that. Cool. And he had a really good show last night that I was watching, and he was talking about if Dak doesn't get signed, who would be a suitable replacement for him. And he mentioned Russell Wilson. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on that, what you thought about that.
I don't even. Where's Russell Wilson right now? What team is he on?
He's on Pitts. He just got picked up by Pittsburgh, but it's only a 1-year contract.
Yeah, we'll call back when he's not on Pittsburgh's team, and maybe Dak's not on this team, And then maybe we can talk about that. But I mean, we're talking about guys that are on a different team. He can do that. Like that,
Yeah.
the person you mentioned, he can do that. He can say that and all that. But that's not really what that's pretty far down the road.
See, that's
Yeah, I'd like to focus on what we maybe see tomorrow. What we'll see this year.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
I thought the same thing when I heard that because, I mean, I've been a Dallas Cowboy fan for as long as I can possibly remember. I used to go to the games in the 90s and that. I got to watch them win 3 Super Bowls and shit.
Okay.
My thoughts about it was anybody who's a Dallas Cowboy fan knows Jerry. He does when it comes to contract seasons. He loves the media, and he plays it out. So I in my heart, I believe that he's going to sign Dak. And I will absolutely love to see that because I don't want to see Dak go anywhere.
Right.
I mean, how many Daks are in the NFL? Honestly.
10.
I mean, he's elite. No matter you like to say it or not, if you agree or not.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah. No, he is. And like again, you don't have to get too far down the road. I mean, I don't know what next year is next year, but that type of example, because they have to make those decisions. The Cowboys have to talk about these things and go, all right, if not Dak, then who? And if the player that you mentioned is in the group, then I'd go back and try to re-sign. Dak. I'd be like, let's think about this. Oh
yeah, all day long.
So
because I mean, if they did go that way, Russell Wilson would be 37 years old, and like 10 years out of his prime. I mean, when did he win the Pro Bowl, or when did he go to the last Pro Bowl? Like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be like that's the thing. The Cowboys, it's a tough situation. They can either re-sign him, pay a lot of money on this salary cap for Dak, not re-sign him, take your chances with somebody else that's probably 10 years behind his prime or whatever.
Yeah.
Or draft a guy and just hope for Brock Purdy when that rarely happens, or even
rarely happens.
So. It's gonna
When's the last time Jerry Jones let a player walk away without getting anything for him?
Well, I mean, what kind of player are we talking about? I mean, like
of Dak's stature.
Yeah,
of Dak's stature. I don't think they ever had. So that's another reason why I think they're going to sign him.
Yeah.
Because if they don't sign him by next year, he walks scot-free.
Yeah, and you get a third-round pick for comp pick in the next year.
I mean, that ain't nothing. What's a third-round pick, man?
If it's not Jason Witten, I mean, but that's about it. And lately, they have not been hitting their third-round picks. But I mean, as this year though, everybody's got Cooper Beebe already in the Pro Bowl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Playing a position he's never played, but there's a lot of excitement over him. But the third-round picks have not been that great in the last few years, so that's one where Cowboys have got to have some success. So, all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, James.
And am I supposed to tell you my favorite wrestler, my favorite Cowboy of all time, since I'm the first time?
Yep.
All right. My favorite wrestler is Goldberg, and my favorite Cowboy is Jay Novacek. I got to meet him back in 1993.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was pretty awesome.
All right. Sounds
I can't wait to get through to you guys again, man.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, James. All right. Let's try to excited about this year and watch the practice tomorrow. And that's just the thing, guys. I mean, we can't go ahead. Other media outlets have the ability to do that, and it's I guess it's fun to do. And when you are talking about Dak's contract, you can say, all right, well, if this doesn't happen, what does it look like? But that's why we don't really talk about it a whole right now. I'd like to see who's out here tomorrow, how these guys are looking, how these rookies are looking. That's just the way I always take it. And you guys know this. You've watched the shows last year, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. Look at it. I don't look ahead. Well, what are they going to be in the playoffs and all that kind of stuff? I mean, just enjoy the ride. And then there's a whole season to be done here. And we'll see if they get a deal done with Dak or CD or Micah or all of them. Before that, and until that happens, you're going to keep talking about it. But as far as naming specific replacements and stuff like that, I think that's way, way premature. All right, Arthur in Spring, Texas is next.
Hello, Mickey. I'm sorry. Hello, Nick. How you doing, sir?
Not starting off great. How we doing, Arthur?
I'm pretty good. Hadn't had a chance to call in a while, but
All right.
I don't really have any questions. I just have a few comments.
All right.
You know, for the most part, the bigger part of Cowboys Nation has been divided on about Zeke coming back, and in my mind, I figure Zeke can't hurt anything any worse than what we've been dealing with as far as the run game and how we've been able to utilize it. There's the way we'd like things to be, the way things we hope they would be, and then the truth of the matter is some things are just all what they are. And like 31 other teams in the league, we're hopeful that between draft choices, second-year players really kind of coming on, we're hoping that this team is going to be a lot better, especially in the playoffs, than what we have seen in the past. And again, I'm one of those people. I just all I can do is be concerned about what's right in front of us. With the defensive players that we have had over these last couple of seasons going against these rookies that are coming in, all it can do is make them get better. It'll show their weaknesses. Through coaching, they can address whatever those deficiencies are, and then put them out there and let them prove themselves. We have contingency plans if it doesn't work out. Hopefully the contingency plans work equally as well as what they anticipate with the rookies that we've got coming in. But, I've always tried to be one of those the sky's blue kind of things and not worry about the rain and the storms that you go through, because all of that is just life. Those things happen. I'm hopeful that I don't know how much better Dak can be than what he's shown himself to be over these last, let's say, at least 2 seasons for sure. When you practically lead the league in interception, now they kept saying that he led it, but if I'm not mistaken, Josh Allen has just as many interceptions thrown that same year as he did. And he managed this past season to dig himself out of that hole, talking about that. So I'm hopeful about a lot of this, and I just, like I said earlier, all I can do is be concerned about what's right in front of us. And the same problems that we got, other teams have as well. So,
all right,
that's my 2 cents.
All right, Arthur. Appreciate that. That's kind of the opposite of the call before. Just like, just worrying about what you have in front, and you just try to take it, whether it be month to month, year to year, that kind of stuff. We can't go too far down the road. You said, I don't know how much that can get better than what we've seen. I mean, stats-wise, probably not. I mean, he's led the league in touchdowns last year, and he set the Cowboys record for touchdowns year before, or maybe was it 2 years before? I mean, he's played great at times. He's just got to win in the playoffs. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, that's where he can just do what he's done, play that way, win some games, and win them in the playoffs. That's how he can get better, because that's what a quarterback is. I mean, you look at how these guys are defined. It starts with playoff success and Super Bowls and all that. So you got to have that, and then you got to have all the other stats. And if you don't have the first part, you've got to have a ton of stats on the flip side to be even considered one of the best. And that's where Dan Marino's involved. And, back in the day, it was Dan Fouts and, the guys like that. And, you have some now, some of these current guys that are doing really well, but they have, Drew Brees was like that for a long time until he finally won, and so, but that's where he's got to take the next step. The next step is just do what you've done all year long, treat these regular season games the same, and then when you get to the playoffs, play the same way. And if you can do that, then you will be taking the next step without being that noticeable. It's just noticeable when more people are watching. All right, Lewis in Langston, Oklahoma is next.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, Lewis. How are you?
My feelings is a little hurt. I'm a Oklahoma City Thunder fan, so watching the Mavs take that game the other day, I know this is football talk, but my feelings a little hurt about that. But outside of that, I'm pretty good. I can't complain too much.
Not sorry about your feelings right then and there. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. And I'm also not sorry that we don't have to see. Now, I know the Mavericks have a different challenge coming up, but I don't want to see that Shea Alexander or whatever his name is, SGA. I don't want to see him make any more shots. Like, that guy's unbelievable. I'm tired of him. Oh, my God, he was so good. And I'm thinking I'll be feeling the same way about this Anthony Edwards. But, yeah, I mean, it's a fun time right here. And I'm not comparing. I hate this talk about, the Rangers won it last year. The Stars and the Mavericks are both in the finals.
Yeah.
No, I mean, just look at the ratings. Just look what people care about. Don't even go there.
No.
Don't even go there. But it's a fun time here in Dallas for this month to be watching these Stars and the Mavericks and the Rangers if they can turn it around too. So it's a fun time.
Oh yeah. I enjoying all the sports, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Outside of the Thunder and the Dallas Mavs, I can rock with everything else.
Cool.
But I really was just kind of calling to give you a thank you. My wife said I'm gonna have to do a lot of foot rubs and stuff like that. But I might make it to a couple games this year.
All right. So you told her. Did you give her my speech?
Yeah. She laughed at it. She thought it was funny, but she said, yeah. She said, sounds like you already got your mind made up. I said, well, kind of, but I know I still got to get a yes from you before I can do anything.
That's right. You got to talk to the boss. That's right.
Yeah. I can't make too many moves without her. Outside of that, man, I didn't have too much going on, too much to talk about today. I always forget something. There's always a subject. And I think the last one that y'all talked about, it might have been a while ago now, but favorite player back in the day, and to me, it's always been Emmitt Smith. I grew up a big Emmitt Smith. I know the triplets and stuff, but when I was in Little League, I wore 22. I had the little ball cut and all of that stuff. I tried to emulate that man as much as I could. I think for a little while, it might have made my dad jealous. Just a little bit. But outside of that, I mean, I can't. That's really it, man. Like I said, I just trying to call in and tell you I appreciate you giving me a shout out in the pitch, and I'll just hang up and listen to you for the rest of the day. I'll talk to you later.
All right, Lewis. Appreciate that. Hope you get to go to the game. Sounds like you're doing everything you can to make it there. All right, we're going to go take a quick break here on the Storyline. We'll be right back with more calls here on Cowboy Storyline. Be right back.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Cowboys fans, after that move, we've just coined the term Rowdy Replay. Let's roll back the tape.
Okay, there's our mascot Rowdy cheering on the boys. And now he's on his phone, on his Bank of America mobile banking app?
Staying on top of his finances with his virtual financial assistant, Erica.
Bank of America's digital tools are so impressive. Cowboys fans just can't stop banking. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/can't-stop-banking.
Erica is only available in the English language. You must download the latest version of the mobile banking app, only available on select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. Member FDIC.
Welcome back into Dear Doctor, the show where I answer life's questions with an ice-cold can of Dr. Pepper. Sheila, let's hear from our next caller, would you?
Dear Doctor, my friend supported me during a tough time. But what's the right gift that says, thanks for being a shoulder to cry on?
Okay, this one's easy. I say give her a delicious Dr. Pepper. Nothing says, thanks, girl, better than a one-of-a-kind soda. Yes, any Dr. Pepper flavor will do. Now, just a reminder that I don't need to be a real doctor to know that Dr. Pepper is the one you deserve.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
to Cowboys Storyline.
All right, back here on the Storyline. Take a quick break to figure a couple things out. We're going to keep this ball moving, though. Here we got Jonathan. He's on the line in Virginia Beach. Jonathan, what's up?
What's up? How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. I wanted to first take the chance to just shout out my little daughter. She had her 4-year-old birthday on Saturday.
Oh, nice.
She's a Cowboys fan. And didn't take
I got one of those coming up too. I got a daughter with a 4-year-old birthday coming up, and she's a Disney princess fan. I'm not really into the Cowboys, but we're into all the Disney princesses. I know that, so I know them all by heart. So, well, congrats to her.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to talk about. Well, first I wanted to talk about a movie. I'm sure you've seen it. It's called Any Given Sunday. It's a football movie. It's great. You should check that out.
Okay. I've seen it.
I wouldn't say. Okay, cool. That's a great speech at the end.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about the schedule a little bit as well.
Go for it.
I think it's we have an opportunity this season that we didn't last year. Last year we ran into teams early in the year that were supposed to be good. They had some injuries. We were playing lights out, and it kind of gave us a false sense of security for our football team, I believe, especially as a fan. And then the defense kind of let us down at the end, especially in the playoffs. But this year we're playing playoff caliber teams early, so it will give us the opportunity not only to see that, but also to make adjustments, like if defenses are running really successfully against us, then we can maybe make a change or a trade. Lastly, I wanted to talk about the differences in the secondary. I felt like we played a lot of man. I'm not exactly sure what Zimmer's scheme is, but I feel like that's something that kind of we were too predictable last year. People knew we would be in man. It seemed like every man opportunity we would get caught in it, and they would have like a little slant. So I was wondering what you thought about the defensive secondary, how they're going to approach the season coming forward.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for the call, Jonathan. Appreciate that. And, you mentioned that about the schedule, and it was kind of funny because you were like, last year, we thought there was going to be some really good teams early, and it wasn't. This year it is. I mean, we think. You think so. We thought that, like, the Chargers game Monday, October 16th, like back last season, was going to be a really, really tough game. And, it was a tough game. But as it turns out, they weren't – it didn't turn out to be a great win, just like beating I can't even think of his name, Zach Wilson from the Jets. We thought that was going to be, Aaron Rodgers in week 2, with the Jets. And so you just never know. You never know what anything's going to be. So who knew the Cardinals game was going to be one that stopped them from having a lot of success early. So, you just got to go play it. It doesn't that's the thing. Like, that's kind of on the fans and on the media. That's what happens. They jump the gun and go, well, this team is this and this because they're 4-1 or whatever, 3-1. We got a lot of football left to go. That is one of the reasons why, and I don't mean to keep harping on it, but that's one of the reasons why you won't see me get too far down the road. It doesn't matter. You don't know. You don't know who's going to be playing in the game, who's not going to be playing, who's going to drop off. Who saw Philadelphia dropping off the way they did? They were like 10-1, and then the bottom went out, and they were barely making the playoffs. So, again, it just kind of stay the course and enjoy the ride. And I can't say it enough. And the schedule is what it is. It starts with the Giants, of course, like it always seems to. I'm sorry, not the Giants. I'm looking at last year's schedule. I don't have the schedule in front of me. I forget who it starts with. Cleveland. It starts with Cleveland. That's going to be, we think that's going to be a tough matchup. We know Myles Garrett is good. If he's playing in the game, and it doesn't matter who they've got at left tackle, it's going to be a challenge. So that'll be fun to watch. All right, let's keep it going here. Tony in Atlanta. Tony, what's up?
Hey, Nick. Good afternoon to you. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm good, man. I ain't got no complaints at all, man. I listen most every day. I rarely get a chance to call. As a matter of fact, this is my 5th time calling.
Here we go.
There's no music for that. Appreciate it, man.
We're passing
Why not,
around.
right?
Yeah,
Right.
Beam's passing around like Halloween candy. You know what? You get some. You get some.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody gets it. So I want to comment on the whole Dak to extend or not to extend piece, and then I want to throw a wrestler in for you at the end.
All right.
So as far as I've come a long way from the end of the season, the Green Bay game, when I was in a place of absolutely do not extend him. I mean, what are we, crazy? I mean, but the wound was fresh, right? I mean, it was a fresh wound, and it was painful loss, and it was like we've been down this road too many times, and so forget about it. So, but I've gotten far enough away from it now, several weeks, months later, to where it's like, I'm open to certainly giving him an extension. But it doesn't have to be now. I mean, it could be at the end of the year. I mean, if you do have a desire to give him an extension at the end of this season, then that means there was a certain level of success that we hadn't obtained up to this point. I wouldn't think they would want to give him an extension if we bowed out in the wild card round or even in the divisional round. I just wouldn't see that. But one thing I will say, though, again, on the other end of do not extend is this. One thing that there's a narrative out there that we regularly hear people reference, which is we don't want to go through quarterback purgatory again. The 5-11 seasons, the Campo seasons, the quarterback, that whole roulette of quarterbacks that we had. And I'll say this. If they don't extend Dak, that doesn't necessarily mean we're going through quarterback purgatory. I remember it was horrible. But the thing is that I don't foresee a scenario like that happen again because Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones, I don't see them scouring AAA baseball trying to find quarterbacks again. I mean, that's the type. They were being kind of cute back then, and they were trying to, in the post-Aikman area, trying to find a diamond in the rough.
Trying to hit home runs. I mean, literally. That's exactly what
literally trying to hit home runs. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
On the and they've come a long way. And I reference Stephen more so than Jerry because he's the guy over personnel. And they've come a long. He's come a long way. They've come a long way since then. And they had Parcells. And Parcells, like you, me, I've heard so many people reference it, and I'm sure Stephen Jones will reference it. We all learned a whole lot from Bill Parcells. And what you learn from Parcells and just your experience over the course of the last 2 decades, you will not go through quarterback purgatory like that again. You may not hit and be as fortunate as you did with Romo and Dak, and they didn't cost you much. Eventually ended up having to pay them a lot, but you didn't have to invest a lot on the front end. But I just don't see purgatory again. So I have no fear of that if we don't extend Dak, right?
All right.
So just want to get your thoughts on that. And then the wrestler I want to throw out. Now, it's not my favorite guy or anything like that, but I want to see if you remember Pistol Pez Watley. You remember him?
What was the first name?
Pistol Pez Watley.
Not really, no.
You remember Jimmy Valiant? You remember Jimmy Valiant? Boogie Woogie Man?
Yeah, kind of vaguely. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you more world class.
I was in a different territory. Yeah, I was in a different territory.
Yeah. See, over here, I was kind of Mid-Atlantic wrestling, Georgia wrestling and stuff like that. So we had a different bunch, man. But that was a guy, man. He was pretty comical. He had one of the more famous or not so famous heel turns ever. And if you ever get a chance, Google Pez Watley and Jimmy Valiant and just thank me later.
All right, cool. All right,
man.
Appreciate
you, brother.
All right, the part about the offensive line, I'm sorry about the, not going through quarterback hell and all that kind of stuff again. Well, the difference, I think, with what they were doing back then and trying to get, the Chad Hutchinsons and the Quincy Carters and all those, trying to get Drew Henson. These guys were like, they needed a lot of help, and they were trying to give them help in an older running back, in Emmitt Smith, and also receivers, with Galloway and Rocket and guys like that. And they still weren't drafting offensive linemen. They didn't draft the offensive linemen in the first round until 2011. That was the first time in 30 years that they had done that. So that wasn't their philosophy. So I think if they went and got a younger quarterback, whenever that is, whenever it's time to get a new quarterback, or even if it's an older quarterback that is cheaper, I think they're going to surround him more with better offensive linemen the way the team has been built than what we've seen in the past, we're trying to just give them great receivers. That's why it was interesting what the Bears did. When they drafted Caleb Williams, and then they went and gave him the receiver there, the number 9th pick, Odunze, I think is how you say it, in Washington, which he looks like a great player. And that could be a great tandem for years to come, and it really might be. If I'm drafting a quarterback and I have another high pick, I'd like to see an offensive lineman, a tackle, something, especially in a draft like this where there was a lot of tackles. Again, not trying to get in another person's team, but what I'm saying is I think when you have these great, when you have quarterback around it, you do need to build more from the inside. I do want to talk about the last caller before Tony, Jonathan, Virginia Beach. I did not mention his question. I didn't try to even answer it. He talked about the defensive scheme. Will they see more man-to-man? We saw that last year. A lot of that comes down to just the personnel that they have. Stephon Gilmore was a pretty good man-to-man cover corner. That's what he can do. And I think if Zimmer feels comfortable with the way Diggs is covering and the way that Deron Bland, if they can go and play more man-to-man, then that's what he'll do. But it all starts with what your cornerbacks can do. And with Jordan Lewis in there, and I think if he's comfortable with that, then yeah, you would definitely see that. Then it gives your safeties a lot more freedom to move up and down. But it starts with your corners and what your corners are able to do and how they are able to match it up. All right, let's go to the next. We don't have another caller. We're out of callers right now. So the phone line is open here for a little bit, 888-855-2297. Had a text question here. This is from Kyle in East Brunswick, New Jersey. Why are the Cowboys playing Russian roulette at the number 2 receiver spot? Cooks is at best at number 3 at this point in his career. Well, I don't know if I agree with that. I actually, with his at this point in his career, I look at him and what he's done. You can say, well, numbers have dropped down. He was a 1,000-yard receiver 6 times. And then last year, 699, and the previous year, 657. Last year, he had 657 yards, 54 catches, 8 touchdowns. That seems like a number 2. And let's not forget, what if you gave him 20 more catches to 74, and let's give him 2,000 more yards at that would be almost, that'd be 857. So if you gave him more of that, he would definitely be there. But the reason why I say that is your number 1 it was like a 1.5. I mean, he was unbelievable. CeeDee Lamb had more catches, more yards, more touchdowns. I mean, he's setting records here. So, yeah, your number 2 is not going to have a ton. But, he had 8 touchdowns. That's the second most of his career. That's the most he's had in 7 years. So, to me, that looks like a number 2 as far as I'm concerned. I was asked Chris for some Alvin Harper numbers. I'm gonna try to pull up Harper's year by year, but the thing is that I'm trying.
I'll put it on there for you.
Yeah. And Chris gave me the totals, which is great. 124, divided by 4 seasons. That's I don't know. That's in the range of about 40. 30 catches. That's about 30 catches a year. Now he had a lot more yards. He was maybe in the range of 600 yards.
Harper's best season with the Cowboys was in 1994. Obviously, he got the deal afterwards. He was 821 yards. He had 33 receptions that year as the number 2. So,
and he was a clear number 2.
Right.
So 33 catches, 800 yards. That's a big play receiver.
And 8 TDs.
8 TDs. He was one of those touchdowns was I think a 95-yarder or 92-yarder, something like that against the 49ers. He did it in the playoffs too. So he was big. He was a big play guy. I'm just using him as an example as a number 2. He was a good compliment to Irvin, and I think Cooks is a great compliment to CeeDee Lamb. And then also he's not worried about any people taking his job. Who's he? He's worked harder with Jalen Tolbert than anyone. So, that's exactly what you want your veteran to be. You don't hear he doesn't make waves. He doesn't complain. He struggled early in the season. He wasn't getting a lot of yards and all that. But as CD started to get his numbers, his grew up, as well. And him and Dak had that fade to the corner. How many touchdowns did we see there? 3 or 4 of that. So they had a good connection. I disagree. I think, it's a 1 year. He's on 1 year deal, so they're going to have to figure out that receiver position. But I think Cooks has still got plenty in the tank, and he showed to be a really good complement for the last year. So, all right, we're going to go a little bit more here. Got a text question here, Daniel. He's from Oregon. Which DB do you think will lead the team in interceptions this year, and why? Ooh, it's a good one. When you've got Diggs that had 11 a couple years ago, and then you had Bland with 9. Both of them have led the NFL in the last couple of seasons. Watch it be none of them. But no, they're both. It'll probably be, I would say Bland. I would say Bland again, because I think Diggs is going to be. I caught a glimpse of him last week. And I think what they do is he's been doing little workouts on the side, and then he maybe runs 1 or 2 drills, really cornerback drills. And I just saw the back pedal, the cut, the burst, all that, and I'm thinking, okay, this is mid-May, and he looks good to go. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be back to normal. And I think that being said, I think you'll see Bland probably get more. I think Bland will give up more yards because I think they'll throw at him a little bit more. He gives up some, and I think he'll get some interceptions too. So I would go, if I had to pick there, I would say Bland would probably be my guy there. So, all right. We have open phone lines right now. We're dealing with a little bit of technical issues so that we're not surprised by that. We had some text questions. As far as OTAs starting tomorrow, here's a couple of things. When you're just looking at things to watch, me personally, I'll be out there and some, the first thing, not that it truly matters, but the first thing that's going to get watched is who's there, and who's not there. Dak he has been in some of these practices before, so we've seen Dak do some stuff. Micah and CD, you haven't seen them as much. Again, OTA is voluntary, so if they're looking for contract situations, this is normal. I've seen Zach Martin do that. Seen Dalton Schultz do this. So, but when it's time for mini camps and all that, by listening to what Mike McCarthy has said and Stephen Jones have said, I don't think there's any real concern with who's here and who's not here at this time. But that'll be the first thing I think that you watch. You'd like to see something from Mozzie Smith. He's still rehabbing a shoulder injury. Probably won't see him when they get into the team stuff. So if it's not him, then who? Who's inside at defensive tackle? Who's playing where? Do they have some of the young guys? It's a great spot for a 7th round, a pick in Justin Rogers. He's got an opportunity to do a lot and play early on, especially with Mozzie banged up and then losing Gallimore and Hankins. They have Golston, of course, and they have Osa in the middle, but a true one technique nose tackle. It's a good opportunity for a guy like Justin Rogers. All right, let's go to Dylan. He's in Northport, Florida. Dylan.
Hey, Nick. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. I didn't know if you guys were on, but I saw your tweet, so I thought I'd call in and see what was up.
Yes. Yeah. Dealing with some issues, keeping the stream going. It'll be at the end of the show. You'll be able to watch it. But yeah, we told the callers keep rolling here for a few more minutes so we can keep it going. So thank you.
Yep. Well, I'm glad I got in. Thanks for having me here. I keep seeing comparisons now that Goff got paid. I keep seeing comparisons between the two, Dak and Goff.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like there's not really a comparison. If you look at the only thing that people can really say is Goff's had the playoff success. But if you look at what he's done in the playoffs, every time his team has had a run, he needed to be like basically 2016 Dak, where it's just hand the ball off and then go out and make a play every now and then when you need to do it. And I think that's like what most teams should strive for. But man, I would love to see if this team, it's not constructed this way right now, but maybe in a year or two, if everything goes right, if we could become that 2016 team again with a really good offensive line, a decent enough running back. Don't even need 2016 Zeke, but just a decent enough running back, and just let Dak go out and make a play every now and then and not have to throw the ball 45 times and still be able to put up 30-plus points a game. I think that would be phenomenal. And Dak today in that 2016 offense, I would kill to see that. But with the salary cap, I know that'll be tough, and Dak's payment coming. So I guess we'll see.
You still want to pay a receiver $30-something million? And that, no, I mean, it's something that they got to figure out. If that's the type of offense that they have, I mean, you still would need a number one. I mean, you still need a guy like that. So I
don't know what Dez's contract. I can't remember. I mean, I know he got paid. I don't know what his cap hit was back then. But you had a true number one, in that offense, kind of towards the end of his career. But obviously, CD's going to be a bit more expensive than probably Dez was.
Yeah, he's going to be more expensive, and he's younger too. In when he got this big deal, so but yeah, and the game's still changed. Even if that's what 8-9 years ago, the game has changed a lot, especially the way they distribute the ball around. So I think what you're trying to say is. And at least what I'm hearing is just don't put as much on Dak's plate. And I think in the playoffs, you have to be able to win that way. Goff had some good years. I mean, he had some good games in those playoff years, but they won playoff games because they were able to run the ball. We all know this by now. You have to run the football in the playoffs. So you got to be able to do it. You can't just say the same way we played here. It's not the same. It's not the same in basketball, hockey. I don't know if it would be in baseball. Probably not. It can't be the same in baseball either because of the rotations. Different sports are different when you get into the playoffs. It's just built that way, and you got to be able to win in both ways.
And I guess the counter argument to what I'm saying would be, well, if you're taking more off of Dak's plate, then you probably shouldn't be paying him as much as you're about to pay him. So it kind of goes both ways on that one. But I just don't get really the comparisons between the two. I think that Dak's a much better quarterback than Goff at the end of the day, I guess is what I was getting at originally.
Yeah. And the thing is, and I said this to another caller too, we're done with the stats part with Dak. I mean, he does, what he leads the team and does this and that, good or bad. Interceptions, touchdowns, whatever it is, it's got to lead to wins. So if he gets this monster deal and they run the ball way better than they have in the past, and he's handing the ball off a lot more, his stats are down, but his wins are up, everyone's going to be happy about that. And they're going to be like, you know what? That was a smart move. Less is more. Look at what Dak's being able to do now, and it's all going to be worth it. So, I think if he makes 55, 60 million, his stats are lower, but he goes farther in the playoffs, I think everyone will think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Dylan. Appreciate the call.
Thanks, Nick.
Good stuff. All right. I think we're gonna just wrap it right there. We got 50 minutes. Got 7 callers. Like I said, dealing with a little bit of technical stuff, but you really won't know the difference when you watch it here because we were able to kind of push this thing through. I appreciate Chris Beam for knocking it out like that. We'll have another show. Hopefully a little bit smoother, but everything was fine here. We'll have another show Thursday. We'll be able to talk about what we saw on Wednesday at the OTA. So looking forward to that. All right. So for Chris Beam, I'm Nick Eatman. We will see you Thursday on Cowboys Storyline.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this,